Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgins.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on the Prime Minister addressing the concerns of Indigenous leaders. But first, consultation from both sides of the aisle.
As different groups have gone out and done policy forums, the public sentiment has changed somewhat. Most recent polling that we did showed that more people were interested in an Alberta pension plan than not, and there's still a large number of undecided. So we're still consulting on that.
The Premier addressing a question of why her government continues to pursue a provincial pension plan, one of several issues up for discussion during Alberta Next panel town halls currently making their way to select communities this summer. Joining us now, NDP leader and newly sworn-in MLA for Edmonton Strathcona, Naheed Nenshi. Mr. Nenshi, welcome back, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me, Michael.
All right, well, let's start with Alberta Next town halls, 2 down, several more to go. What are they serving to accomplish?
What a debacle this is. You know, it's just a sham. It's very clear. The Premier is very transparent on what she's trying to do here. She's basically saying she started a fire for separatism to get people all mad. She's going to come back and say, you don't want to separate. We're just going to give you your own pension plan and your own police force and everything will be okay, right? It's not going to work. It didn't work when Jason Kenney did it in 2019. It's not going to work now. And the real problem here is that she started a fire, and now she's desperately trying to call the fire department. She's spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money to give separatists a platform, to get other people angry at the separatists showing up at these things, to get people in the audience yelling at each other. What in the world is this going to accomplish? It doesn't actually give you any sense of how Albertans really feel. They're using very bad push polling, very biased videos to try and get people to answer questions the way they want to answer them. There's no option to say, I don't want an Alberta pension plan. The options are, what's the best part about an Alberta pension plan, for example? We know nobody wants an Alberta pension plan. We know nobody really cares about getting rid of the RCMP. And none of this stuff is actually going to address the real concerns of Albertans. None of it's going to get a pipeline built. In fact, all this talk of separation has actually turned into freezing investment in Alberta, just like we saw in Britain, in Quebec, in Scotland, and so on. And no one wants to invest here because they don't know what country they're investing in. So if we want to address the real economic and social concerns of Albertans, let's address them, because getting our own pension plan is not solving any of people's concerns with how to make Alberta better.
Mr. Nenshi, though, they are an opportunity, though, are they not, to have a say on these contentious issues?
Well, I mean, they'd be an opportunity
for Albertans to directly address the Premier, and she has faced some angry questions, some criticism, and Albertans don't get. It's not every day Albertans get to speak directly to Danielle Smith.
That is true, except if you have a Canadian flag on, they don't let you in. If you look like you don't agree with them, they don't let you in. They don't let the media film these things or ask any questions. And so while they're open to everyone to register, what we've seen is that the folks who believe in separatism have very smartly taken up the slots to give a very, very stacked room and a very biased view of what's going on. Though you will see that when people speak out against the Alberta pension plan, even in a stacked room, they get massive applause. And what the Premier was saying was really funny in that clip. She's like, a recent poll shows that some people like the Alberta pension plan. The question that was asked in that poll is, if you could have an Alberta pension plan that costs less and pays more benefits and has no risk, would you be in favor of it? And that's counterfactual. Those things don't actually exist in the real world.
All right. Now, we should mention your party preparing to hit the highway as well this summer with a handful of town hall meetings. Is that meant to be direct competition with Alberta Next?
No, very much not, because we don't want to just repeat what she's doing that is ineffective. So we're calling it the Better Together campaign, Better Together Summer, and people can find out more at bettertogethersummer.ca. And it's going to look quite different. So yes, there will be some town halls where we invite people to come and give us direct feedback, but we'll do it in a way that's authentic, where we actually get people talking to one another, where they have the ability to provide real feedback, not just sound bites in 10 seconds or 20 seconds. But we're also doing a bunch of other things. So yesterday, for example, I was in Red Deer at the kickoff of the Westerner Days. We're talking to regular people at festivals, at community events. My caucus and volunteers are going across the province door knocking. So you're going to see people on your doorstep, at your dog park, in your local community, having real authentic conversations about what is it that's on Albertans' minds and what are the things that we really need to focus on. And certainly we're hearing a number of things already. People are furious about the separatism thing. They're saying this is a distraction from the real issues. People are worried about the cost of living. They're worried about jobs. They're worried certainly about healthcare and education. They're worried about crime. And none of these things are truly being addressed by the Alberta Next panels that the Premier is doing.
Okay, and when you teed it up this week, you did so as a pro-Canada approach. So with that in mind, is there a role for your party to play this summer in helping advance Thomas Lukaszik's efforts to spawn an anti-separation referendum question?
Well, there are many, many folks who are out there being pro-Canada, which is great because the vast, 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 vast majority of Albertans are pro-Canada. And our combination, our theme, Better Together, it has a few different meanings. Albertans are better when we stand together instead of fighting with our neighbors, but it also certainly means that Alberta is better with Canada. And I am very unabashedly pro-Canadian, will continue to be pro-Canadian. Quite frankly, I'd prefer to have no referendum because I think that leads to uncertainty in people's minds. It leads to neighbors fighting with one another, and it leads to a real freezing of foreign investment. That said, the Premier has put her cards down. She very clearly wants there to be a referendum, though she pretends she's just an innocent bystander. She changed the laws to make it easier to have a referendum. So, certainly people are going to try different strategies here. I'm just here to talk about the importance of being Canadian.
All right. Now, you've been sworn in as an MLA. No more sitting on the legislature sidelines. Does that mean you crank it up a gear for the summer? How does that change your approach to leadership of the New Democrats, of the opposition?
Well, we're pretty cranked up already, but certainly it'll be helpful to be in the legislature when the legislature resumes in the fall. It means a lot of changes that are probably pretty boring for our viewers today, but it's a bunch of under the hood stuff that I can do now that I was unable to do before. So, for example, before I wasn't really supposed to do press conferences within the legislature because I wasn't a sworn member. So things like that will become easier, but our priorities are not changing. We're really still focused on the things that Albertans tell us they need: a good economy, decent cost of living, great public services, and paying for that and being good with money. Just today we had a bunch of reports from the Auditor General showing yet again that this so-called conservative government is anything but conservative when it comes to spending taxpayer money. So this will be a real chance for us to be able to talk more about these things that matter, including, and let's not forget, the ongoing corrupt care scandal. The province has pushed off their investigation. They're still the subject of an RCMP investigation and an Auditor General investigation, despite their best efforts to stymie those. And certainly we're going to see a lot of that come up in the next little while, too, to see if there really is as deep corruption within the UCP government as the allegations would make clear.
All right. We have to leave it there for time. As always, appreciate your time, Mr. Nenshi. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. People can visit bettertogethersummer.ca to find out more, and I hope everyone has a great Alberta summer.
That's Naheed Nenshi, leader of Alberta's New Democrats.